President Biden plans to convince, especially our European allies, that former President Trump was an anomaly in some ways. All of the things that he did to, in some ways, traumatize those leaders, calling into question the need for NATO. What's the plan there? And is he concerned that those scars are going to be deeper than his ability to address them in this one trip?
I think our view going into this trip is that actions speak louder than words, and that showing that the United States is capable of turning the corner on the pandemic, showing that the United States is capable of making the dramatic investments that will pull us up and out of this economic recovery and help power global growth, showing the world that we are ultimately capable of making the investments in R&D and infrastructure, innovation, and workforce. Ultimately, setting that foundation for this country will be the most effective way to show the rest of the world that the United States has the power and purpose to be able to deliver as the world's leading democracy. So that's what he's going to try to demonstrate. And he, as I said at the outset, feels he goes into this from a position of strength because of the record he's built up over the course of the first 4 months.
Can you talk a little bit, is Congress being briefed on the idea of voting as a national security issue? And if the For the People Act isn't passed, what will that say globally, given the fact that you just laid it out as a national security issue?
So I will say humbly, as the National Security Advisor, I don't tend to get into the middle of the debates up on the Hill on issues like voting rights. All I can say is the bottom line principle, not a specific question about the vehicle or the time frame, but rather the fundamental principle, which is that a strong, vibrant American democracy that protects voting rights is the best way for us to make the case to the world that our model and not some other model is the right model to actually vindicate the will of the people here in the United States, and for other democracies to be able to do the same.
Two quick questions. One to follow up on Yamiche. The biggest concern of some of our allies has been over the last 4 years and even before just the rapid swing back and forth of our foreign policy. Now, you can't assure anyone what's going to happen after you leave, but what assurances and what will you tell our allies that despite what we've seen in the past, that we have returned to normal?
I think the best way to answer that question, and this builds on what I said to Yamiche, is what President Biden can do is show the rest of the world what America is capable of. If we can lead the world in ending the COVID-19 pandemic more rapidly, if the growth we are powering for the American people here at home helps power a global economic recovery, if we can help rally, as the president did with his Climate Leaders Summit, action on the climate crisis so that we actually beat this thing ultimately, that is going to be the best way for people to say, man, the United States can do this. They can deliver, and we will stand up and stand behind them. And that is the approach that he has taken from the first day he's been in office. That's the message he's going to carry into these meetings. And what I believe we will deliver just out of the G7 alone, in addition to the other meetings he's going to have on this trip, will show that the United States retains profound capacity to help rally the world's democracies to solve big problems.
The second question